comprising 1/3 of the world's monuments, is full of objects of admiration and wonders that may be underrated or not as popular as the pyramids are. In this video, we are going to explore 3 of Egypt's hidden touristic places in order to show you how Egypt's cultural importance lies in the heart of its history. Egypt's tourism is an important source of income for its economy and is an important field where a lot of Egyptians work. Tourism attraction examples are numerous. Archaeological or cultural tourism, which is the oldest type of tourism, beaches tourism, therapeutic tourism, sports tourism, safari tourism, desert tourism, maritime tourism, festival tourism and culture events, conferences and exhibition tourism, and much more. Egypt had its turn of receiving a series of civilizations throughout history. First, this country passed through the pharaonic civilization that lasted for thousands of years. Second, the Roman and Greek civilizations affected Egypt. Then, the Coptic civilization also did. And they all lift their fingertips in Egypt in the form of historical memorials. All the queens that passed through the reign of Egypt, Hatshepsut was one who left a great impact. According to National Geographic, she left Egypt better than she found it. She created the next king, Thutmose III, who ended up being the Napoleon of Egypt, enlarging its empire beyond anything it had ever seen. She was very canny in how she used ideology to set herself up with unsaleable power. She told her people, "The God has chosen me. It's not my own ambition. It's not my own wish, but my father, the god Amun-Re, has spoken to me and told me that I must do this."
During her reign, the land of Egypt enjoyed a lot of prosperity. She was so interested in trading, and she was not that fond of sending military campaigns against neighboring countries to subjugate them, but she was even much more interested in sending delegates to other countries, neighboring countries, to start trading.
The crowning jewel of Hatshepsut's achievements is her mortuary temple, strategically placed on the west bank of the Nile next to the temple of Mentuhotep II to reinforce her position among kings. Her temple was known as Djeser Djesero, which means Holy of Holies, and decorated with scenes from her reign. We can also find Anubis, the god of the dead, Hathor, goddess of fertility, Amun, king of gods, and Re, the god of the sun.
Elle a régné en Égypte pour 22 ans. C'est une femme très forte. Alors c'est rare qu'on trouve des femmes dans cette période-là, que l'Égypte dans cette époque-là, c'était très très développé. Et c'est rare qu'on trouve des femmes qui montent et qui règnent tout seules pour 22 ans sur le trône d'Égypte.
The temple of Hatshepsut has 3 levels connected to each other by a causeway of 100 feet that in ancient Egyptian times was probably lined with sphinxes. During these times, the first level was full of exotic trees and shrubbery like frankincense that had come from the queen's trading expeditions to the land of Punt.
So the paintings still survive there as if they were just painted yesterday, despite that nothing was repainted. It all dates back to the 15th century BC. It's really amazing.
Many of the reliefs on the multiple columns depicted Hatshepsut's trips to Punt. Unfortunately, they were all destroyed after her death. The remaining reliefs are all about Thutmose III and the transportation of 2 large obelisks down the River Nile. The second level contains one of the first ever recorded pictorial documentations of a trade expedition. More precisely, the reliefs retell Hatshepsut's high official's journey to Punt that lasted 3 years and includes a shrine for the goddess Hathor. Hatshepsut's birth is depicted on this level as well and is sometimes called the birth colonnade. Statues of Horus in falcon form are situated on each side of the ramp that leads from the second level to the third. This third level houses a portico, or a roof supported by columns, with double rows of columns that face the front. Behind this is a courtyard and several chambers running off of it. The separated columns were constituted of enormous statues of Hatshepsut.
Thutmose Ier, avec sa femme, il a eu Hatshepsut, et Hatshepsut elle était mariée avec le fils de Thutmose II, d'une autre femme dans le palais royal. Puis après Thutmose II et Hatshepsut, ils ont eu une fille qui était mariée par le fils de Thutmose II, qui est Thutmose IV.
I still remember when I was a kid, we would go to Marsa Matruh. We were around 3 or 4 families together. We would rent 2 apartments for 1 week and spend the day at a different beach each day. At night, we would rent bicycles, eat ice cream, walk by the beach, and stay up late together. In this city, there are innumerable beaches with soft white sand and calm, transparent waters.
According to Egypt Travel, Cleopatra Beach sits at about a 14-kilometer drive northwest of Marsa Matruh, around the base thin tentacle of land. The sea here is a breathtaking turquoise shade, and the rock formations are exquisite. Next to the beach, there is a statue of Cleopatra where tourists take pictures. Cleopatra's bath is a natural pool that legends say was the Queen and Mark Antony's bathing place, but she can't actually swim because of the waves and rocks offshore and because the sea is quite rough. The large rock is closed from 2 sides and the top. From the other 2 sides, the water is renewed with every movement of the waves. The sea waves are high enough to enter inside the rock through small carved tunnels. Then the water flows out of its openings in a wonderful shape. In the roof of this rock formation, there are openings that allow the entry of sunlight, which works to heat the water inside.
Churches are all over Egypt, as Christianity has played a huge role in forming Egypt's past as well as its present. Visiting these churches help us learn more about its famous Coptic history. One of the oldest churches in Egypt and first built in Basilican style is the Hanging Church, also known as the Church of the Virgin Mary, which dates back to the 3rd century. From the 11th century until the 13th century AD, it became the official residence of the Coptic patriarchs of Alexandria. This church is recognized as the place of many of St. Mary's appearances.
السقف بتاعها جمالوني امبرسو علشان الوزن ما فيهاش قبه لان طبعا معلقه مبنيه على ابراج الحصن وكانت مبنيه على جذوع النخل بس بعد الترميم اللي ابتدى سنه 1998 حطوا بوتو على جذوع النخل على لتخون دو بالمي.
Its name comes from the fact that it was built on the top of the southern gate of Babylon Fortress, the Roman fortress in Old Cairo, in a way that its core is suspended above the passage. This location gives the church the impression of hanging in the middle of the air. The church's Arabic name, El Mu'allaqa, literally means the suspended. This church is 23.5 meters long, 18.5 meters wide, and 9.5 meters high. Its wooden roof is in the shape of Noah's Ark. You can enter from the street through iron gates located under a pointed stone arch. There are 3 sanctuaries in the eastern side of the church. The one in the middle is dedicated to the Virgin Mary. The one to the left is named after St. George, and the one to the right is named after John the Baptist. The wooden screen is a true piece of art that is willfully decorated with geometric patterns and crosses in ebony and ivory. A total of 110 icons are kept in the hanging church, in which we can find icons of Jesus Christ, Saint Mary, Archangel Gabriel, Saint Peter, Saint John the Baptist, Saint Paul, Archangel Michael, Saint George, Saint Mark, and a lot more. The pulpit of the hanging church dates to the 5th century and rests on 15 gracile columns. A cross is depicted above 3 steps on each side of the pulpit, symbolizing the 3 days in which Jesus Christ was in his tomb and his resurrection.
بناءها أيام العزيز بالله الفاطمي وأيام الظاهر الفاطمي.
As we have now learned, this is where many other unheard rich historical and cultural sites were born.
Great Sphinx of Giza, Luxor's Karnak Temple, Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens, Khan el-Khalili, Elephantine Island, the Temple of Abu Simbel, Cairo's Egyptian Museum, the White Desert, Siwa Oasis, St. Catherine's Monastery, Mount Sinai, Alexandria Port, Aswan High Dam, Temple of Komombo, Saqqara Necropolis, Colossi of Memnon, Pyramid of Djoser, Citadel of Qaid Bay, Nama Bay, Abdeen Palace, Cairo Tower, Temple of Horus at Edfu, Bibliotheca Alexandrina, Nubian Museum, Dendera Temple Complex, Mir Monumental Tombs, Montaza Palace, Catacombs of Qom el-Shukofa, the Island of Plants, Alexandria National Museum, Tombs of the Nobles, and much more.
So historically abundant that each one of them should be explored individually and in depth. As Janet Erskine Stewart said, Egypt is full of dreams, mysteries, memories. This video was made with great passion and outflowing emotion in honor of Egypt, my homeland. The first ground I stepped on, the place where I was born, my second mother, the home of cotton and corn. To Egypt, my love, I'll find my way back home to you. Thanks for watching. This is Sandra Medhat from the heart of the event.
قديمة بندردش ورانا ايه ورانا ايه بنحكي ونفرفش ورانا ايه ورانا ايه نحب نتعرف ورانا ايه نحب نتشرف ورانا ايه ومن يا بلدينا وبلدكو ايه أحسن ناس ورانا ايه بنحكي ونفرفش ورانا ايه ورانا ايه نحب نتعرف ورانا ايه نحب نتشرف ورانا ايه ومنين يا بلدينا وبلدكو ايه احسن ناس على كوبري